Mina the Hollower. This has kind of been on my mind a lot since I played it, and I just want to kind of talk about it briefly. So I played this on this show first. I kind of stopped midway through. I came away from it feeling like, I want to like it. I like it, but it's got too many problems. And then I was called back to it for whatever reason, probably my love of Shovel Knight and these kinds of games. I really like this demo, but I'm confused by it, and I'm conflicted by this demo, right? So I'm day one on this at this point because what I played about it, I like. I don't think, and Tech, can you check if you go to Steam, they'll tell you what the 50 most played games of Next Fest was and were. And this was on the top 50, but I don't think it was very high. Certainly not as high as I would expect a game from the people who made one of the great games the last 15 years, Shovel Knight, 10 years, whenever it was, would be.
Yeah, so Mina is on the list, but it's in the top 25. It is middle of the road. No, actually...
Because, it was in there, but I was surprised it wasn't like a top 10 played demo.
41.
Right. So out of the top 50, it's towards the bottom. Which, again, there were, 1,000 demos? So that ain't nothing. I'm trying to figure this out, and I'm also trying to figure out why I like it, but why I'm so bothered by it. And one of the things that I complain about a lot is the onboarding, like communicating what this game is. I think what it is you look at this game and you say, this is supposed to play like you look at Shovel Knight, which was their other game, or their main other game, and you look at it and you go, oh, I know how this is supposed to play. There's going to be quality of life improvements. There's going to be creativity, but you know that it's kind of a side scroller, ghost and goblin, platformy, whatever. You look at this and you assume you're playing like a Zelda game, and you are, but they start to throw in some Dark Souls shit, and they start to throw in this idea that you have to grind in this game unless you're just really fucking good. And for me, when I play a game like this that has the visual expectations, that's why I quit the first time, because I got to the first mini boss and I was just like, I can't beat it. And it wasn't until I went back that I'm like, oh, okay, there's kind of an RPG aspect and there's a Souls aspect where if I die, I have to go back and collect the bones that I lost. And then I have to level up my sword. I have to level up my shield. And then, because I'm not the world's best game player, I have a shot in hell to beat this fucking thing. And it's not that that's necessarily bad, although it might be. It's that I'm very curious why... Like, where does the assumption come from that everybody knows how they want you to play their game? Because that kind of game mechanic doesn't match this kind of gameplay, I don't think. Like, even Zelda, if you go back to Link to the Past or Link Between Worlds, yeah, you can grind and level up and get more hearts. But for the most part, if you follow what clearly is the main path, although I get in Link Between Worlds, there's no main path, but if you follow what is kind of the basic way most people play it, you always have enough to solve the problem, even if you're not a great game player. And in this game, it's like, unless you're a really good game player and you understand all the systems, you're going to have to grind. And I wonder if that didn't push some people away. And I wonder why the game doesn't do a better job of explaining that this is kind of what this game is. Or maybe they're just like, look, everybody knows that now. Everything's a Souls game. Everybody knows you have to grind in games today. That's just the modern vernacular. And even though this presents as a game from, 1997, that's not what we're dealing with, right? So I'm bothered by that. It's not the only game I've seen do it. There's a lot of systems in this game that don't really do a great job of explaining themselves, like this thing here. Don't fucking ask me what the fuck this machine does, because I still don't know, and I've played the demo to completion 3 times now. There's something about this number down here. There's something about as you collect bones, and when you get to a certain amount, maybe you can...
It's a level up system.
Well, yeah, but it's not, right? Because you can collect bones, and in collecting bones, there are enough bones that will level up your shield, like 350 for the first one, 900 for the second one. It was like 1400 for the third one, right? And I understand that. And anytime you have those bones in the arrow area, you can use them. But then it's like you can transfer them from this to that or this to that. And I'm like, why? Why am I giving them my bones just to have them shoot back out? Right? I don't understand what's happening.
No, you're not giving them your bones. That machine converts the like gems you find across the map into bones.
No,
bones,
you don't. You don't just find gems. You find bones.
Yeah, you find bones and you find gems, right? And
you can find a few gems. The gems,
that's the point. Yeah, so the gem currency, right, is a separate currency used for I think something else in the game, or maybe later on.
Okay, wait, hang on a sec. Okay, watch this. I'll show you. Here it is, right here. This is what we need. Okay, this right here, you can collect this. It's called like a bone shard or something, or I don't know, and it will retain after you die. You'll be able to keep it or something, a certain amount, kind of like if you get, I forget what the item is in Elden Ring, that if you die and you're activating that item, you won't lose your souls or whatever they are. But these are the bones that you have to collect to pay for the upgrade. And I totally get that. So it says, right, bone up, whatever, 417. But I still don't understand what the fuck the machine is doing, because I don't need to go to the machine to bone up. I can level up without the machine.
I know, but like it's a way to take that bigger bonus or whatever, that crystal currency, and turn it into bones later on. I don't get why they have it there. I'm not a game designer, but
I am, and I still don't fucking understand it. So anyway, I don't get that. It's a little confusing, and I'm like, what am I supposed to fucking do with this fucking thing? You know, I think the character design is really, really bad, coming especially from the guys who did Shovel Knight, which is not like Shovel Knight is the world's best character, but it's immediately memorable. And this is just the most generic fucking character I can imagine. And I also, for Next Fest, was playing Tormented Souls 2. And if you look at that game, they redesigned the character, which I think was a smart thing to do. So Tormented Souls 2 came out, and this is what the character looked like when they first dropped their demo. And then they did an update that we just got to see in the Next Fest, and they redesigned the character, and she looked like she did, and now she looks, I think, a lot better, right? So this game, Mina the Hallower, isn't out yet. It's not coming out for a while. I'd like to, I just, don't you agree? Is it just me? I mean, run a poll in the chat, but I'd like to think I'm right on this, that this is a really generic, dull, uninteresting protagonist. And I'm not saying don't make it a mouse, but there's just nothing about this character. So that's another thing. But the biggest problem I have with this game, even though I love it and I plan on buying it, is it feels like it's there's some really, what I don't know. I'm going to say the things I don't like and you tell me, because some people will say, no, Jaffe, that's gameplay. That's good. That's challenge. But I find it problematic. Here's an example right here. So she moves, I think it's a she. So she moves, I think, in 8 directions. She only has animation frames for up, down, left, and right, but you can still move her diagonally. She only attacks, though, in 4 directions, which is a little strange, but okay. But then it gets weird, because even though, she can slide left diagonally, your brain doesn't really track that. Like, they need an animation like Zelda Link Between Worlds, where the character is, rotated at an angle, so your brain starts to track, okay, at least motion-wise, she can move in these directions. But then you come to sections like this where you're like, I don't know how to get across this gap. And it's like, oh, you can jump diagonally. But since there's no visual cue for her being able to position diagonally, you kind of miss that, or at least I did. And I had no idea that I could jump at an angle that would allow me to actually jump to this solid platform. And it's just these little things like that. It's like, why would you not include an animation where the character has 8 directional movement visually, so people can start to understand what her abilities are? And then the fact that you can't attack that way is fine, I guess, but It is a little weird that I can move in every direction, but I can only attack in 4 directions. There's this really cool mechanic that you'll see right here where she can jump and burrow under the ground like Bugs Bunny, and then she pops up. And I think that's really cool. You can use that for defense. You can use that for getting under places. You know, you can use it to put yourself under something and come up and you're lifting it. The object that was obstructing you, now it's above your head. It's a cool mechanic. But the problem in my mind, again, everything can be explained away as, oh, that's intentional and you're meant to learn that. But I don't know. So if you watch you can't see it, but basically in my mind, here's how you activate it. If you jump and hold the jump button down, she'll burrow. So right here, they jumped and the user at that moment decided, I'm going to burrow. But the hitbox is still active, right? So if an enemy's coming up to you with a big club and they're swinging it and you jump, I expect you to get hit. But if you jump and the button is pressed, which means you've committed to that dive, but you're still in that like 3-frame animation where you haven't officially become underground, you'll take a hit. And I just think it's wrong. I think the player's brain is going, I did the thing. I did what I'm supposed to do. It's basically a parry or a block. But the game should recognize that and turn off the collision on you the minute you hit that and hold that jump button down. Otherwise, it's asking you to not rely on muscle memory. It's asking you to sort of go, yeah, we know you did it, but then you've got to sort of add about 1/3 of a second in your brain to know when you're actually invulnerable, right? The game does a lot of that shit. Like if you charge up your weapon and you get knocked out of the charge, there's no big animation for you getting knocked out of the charge, right? You might get pushed back, but the visuals are such, like they're so chunky that it's hard to tell if she's still charging or not. So you'll just keep the button held down, and then when you release it, nothing happens. And the player's like, what the fuck? And so they either need to add an animation of, oh, your charge has been broken, or they need to let you hold the charge after a hit, right? Or even their visual. The last thing I'll say on this is the kind of the Bush League area of this game. It feels like there's like a B team that they really need to bring in the experts that made Shovel Knight brilliant. And maybe these are the same people. I don't fucking know how they do their work. But there's a lot of slop here like that. Like these black pits, there are parts where these look enough like pits that were good. But there are other parts that you walk right into them and you're like, wait, what the fuck was that? And you're like, oh, I fell into a pit. Or I was playing it the other day and Tech was watching and he's like, oh, you should jump down. And I'm like, what do you mean jump down? And I get that the visuals are meant to be antiquated and they're meant to be a throwback, but there's a point where there are expectations where it's like, okay, like even that, I mean, I can live with this because it's kind of a secret where you have to kind of burrow under that thing. Okay, fine. But when you're dealing like this thing right here is something that you can jump down from, but it kind of looks like a gate, right? So I really, in this game, I don't think comes out till October, November. I really hope that they have the time to go in. Like I would have been like, you can't release this demo like this. You just can't, because, you know, it's going to be out of 50. It's going to be 41st. This game could be a classic, just like Shovel Knight, but it feels like they're just not really tuning it and polishing it, unless you guys are listening to what I'm saying and going, no, Jaffe, that's the Bloodborne of it. That's the Soulsborne of it. We like the fact that you have to calculate your own new muscle memory, that when you jump in the air, it's not when you press the button. It's when she actually visually becomes a burrow effect. And I'm like, okay, I guess. But since that's not an intuitive assumption on the part of most players, where does the developer's responsibility begin and end with that? Like you can justify anything as that's the intention of the game design. I get it. But if it's not intuitive, then I think the game has a responsibility, if it wants to be a success, to onboard people into those non-intuitive systems. Otherwise, you end up like with Shuhei playing Dark Souls for the very first time and going, we're not going to publish this because this is terrible. What are you kidding? I've spent 3 hours and I can't get past the first fucking room. Ultimately, that became a big deal, a boon for that franchise. But I don't know, man. I wouldn't fucking risk it. So I just wanted to dive a little deep into this. I like it. I'm day one for it. I really enjoy it, but I had to work really hard to figure out what the fuck this game wants from me. And I don't think it's a good idea. I don't think it's a good idea. I think that's dangerous. And I think the place on the top 50 is evidence of that. I think. I don't know. Maybe they're thrilled with being where they are. I don't know.
By the way,
yeah.
Mouse in the game, 59% of the audience says too generic.
Yeah, it's super generic. There's Shovel Knight, by the way. The point is, I'm not saying that's the world's best character, but it's like, boom, it pops. There's nothing generic about. It's like, what the fuck is this character? You look at Mina the Hollower, and it's like, what? Just boring.
Look up the art for
hang
Backpack
on.
Hero. Backpack Hero, the game, right? And then look at the art for the main character.
Oh yeah.
Mouse protagonist hero going on an adventure. Look at the gameplay, like what the gameplay looks like, because it is also like retro gaming style.
Yeah.
Yeah. So retro gaming Mouse goes on an adventure.
And it's what's the game that was a PSVR game with the little mouse Moss? It's just right. It's just more of the, what are they doing over there? What the fuck are they?
Like,
I mean,
they like mice.
No, I don't give a shit. You can like mice, but come on. I mean, again, I don't think Shovel Knight was a fluke. I think Shovel Knight was a great game, remains a great game. They're a great team. But either they got some great people out and new people in, or I don't know what the fuck they're doing over there. But this is not what they came up with for their main character. Is the most generic, boring fucking main character. It's like, who did this? Who approved this? I hate to sound like a dick. It's frustrating because that game has so much potential and it's so fucking cool. And it's like, yeah, I mean, even if you want to make a mouse hero, then go, okay, make it cool. Give it a fucking, not even, it doesn't have to be a gameplay gimmick, but fuck, give it a gameplay gimmick. I get that it's a mouse and mice burrow, but you know what? Give it a fucking little Tasmanian devil metallic corkscrew for legs, at least when it does the thing, so it can kind of, but do something with it. But it's generic, boring Pixar crap. No, I won't stand for it.